Hi, I'm John. I'm here to show you how to solder up an end connector onto this coax cable RG213. Now you need to undo the end, just put it there, and there's bits and pieces that will come out. That's everything. Do not lose that part. It's the main connection. Now also observe how these plastic pieces come apart, and that should go the other way.
So when you say the other way,
It goes front way, and that one goes off the rear way.
So the fat one's to the front?
Fat one to the front, correct.
Yep.
Okay. Now, to start off, that's your a ring that goes on the end there, and the nut screws up against it, so it is able to turn around easily, and it pushes up against that to tighten up against the coax.
Okay, so that's how we hold it in
there.
hold it in place.
Mechanically hold it in there.
Yep.
Okay, and then you remove this part, which ends up going on the inside of that to make the electrical connection. Okay. So now we'll slide that nut down.
Thread side up?
Yep, thread side up. Yep. Then this washer.
And that goes on any way it likes. Yep.
Yep. And then this plastic.
Now that's got a special way it goes on?
No, no special weight. Just push it on. Just enough there so you can work on it.
Yep.
Now the next stage is roughly about that much.
How much is that?
About 10 mil. We can always trim off the excess.
Okay.
But and then just very carefully run the knife around until you feel it hitting the braided copper.
But don't cut the braided copper.
Don't cut the braided copper, correct.
If you cut the braided copper, you got to start again.
You start, yep. You can just feel it now.
It's a delicate. I always have trouble with this part. There are special tools that will do this for you, aren't there?
I think so. I generally use the side cutters there and just run around.
Oh, yeah.
And but seeing they don't have that, we'll use the knife.
Because you've got some fancy side cutters over there with circular blades, is that right?
Correct, yep. These are side cutters.
Oh, I see, and they've got nice round.
Normally I go around there very carefully and then run it around like that.
Right.
Until you feel it hitting the coax.
So if you can get a pair of those, it's great, but if you can't, you're on with a knife, a sharp knife.
Yep. Okay, I think we're pretty well through. Just bend it back, yep, so you can see the copper braid. It's not quite free there. There you are.
Okay.
Now, you then spread the braid out.
Which skirt?
Reasonably even, doesn't have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this part goes on that way and slides down over that dielectric there, and you slide her in. Sometimes
so
I use
flat sides out.
Yep. Sometimes I use that to put over the edge there and just push down as far as it'll go.
So you're sort of pushing that between the cable. If I can just grab that for a moment.
Yep.
So that sort of get jammed under the cable.
Correct. Yep.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
All right. Nice.
Okay. And now we then use side cutters and
Do a little
trim.
bit of haircut.
Yep. Get rid of all the excess braid.
So that's basically the outer sheathing now connected.
Yep.
Is it?
Yep.
No soldering required.
No, no soldering required.
Okay. Of course, we're very carefully putting all those clips into the rubbish bin
Yes.
because we don't make a mess.
Make sure it doesn't fall into any electronic devices.
Yeah. So that's all getting quite tidy in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty
Yeah,
close
should be
into
good
the.
there.
Right.
Okay, the next stage. Run the knife around there,
So right at the base of that.
right at the base, and just cut around until you feel it hitting the center core down there.
Now that's a solid core, or is that a stranded core?
It's a stranded core.
It's a stranded core, so be careful again. Don't want to cut any strands. I'm guessing the trick is just take your time, go slowly. You have obviously done this once or twice before.
Yeah.
So
Okay, and it should just come off now.
Nice.
So that's the center core.
Okay, let me just have a look in there. Beautiful. Okay, you got
Now,
that? You done
obviously the center core is too long. You put that pin over the end.
that? Yeah, so again, so
It'll only go down so far.
Yep.
I generally put my finger nail just on the end there, pull it off, and you need that much poking out down the bottom end.
Okay.
So I'll use this to keep my rounded finger, and I'll slide it down there, roughly about there. Cut that off, and I'll just try it again. Yes, still got to go down a little bit more.
Okay. You do have to be a bit careful of that because you
Yeah, just till basically it's nearly touching the thing there.
Okay.
I generally like to leave just a little bit, so that pushes the pin a little bit further out, and to make sure it drives right into the antenna socket. Yeah.
Because this is actually critical, because if you have it poking too far out, it's gonna.
Yeah.
It's not
But if you
gonna
don't, if you push it right down, sometimes that center part can get pulled down inside.
Right. Yep.
Particularly if you've got a long
So
run.
you've got it pretty much bang on.
Yeah.
It's hard to see, but yeah, it's pretty much there. Yep.
Yep. So yeah.
Right.
So that's why I always leave maybe just off there a little bit,
Mhm.
so that in case it does slide down inside, it's not going to disconnect
Right.
from the antenna.
Okay.
Okay. Now we may just need to take a break.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So
Now I'm using pliers this time. Normally I use vice grips to hold on to that pin while you solder.
So I've just got that pin. I'm just very gently holding that, not trying to crush it. So you got some solder in your hand there.
Yep,
Now what
solder
solder
hand.
do we need?
Just normal cord solder. It's got lead flux inside it.
Right.
So yeah, it's just a standard. I don't think any particular.
Do you recall that's a
it's
1 mil?
1 mil.
1 mil tin something.
Tinned.
40%, 60% tin, 40% lead. Okay.
Yep.
That's
So, and just make sure the tips
nice
tinned.
tin on the
Now,
tip.
while you're holding on to that, I'll just solder
Okay.
this one.
So we're just tinning this at
yeah,
this stage?
just tinning the cord to get the solder in, and just got to make sure it runs down. Let it run right down.
So cover all the copper centerpiece.
Yep.
But you don't want so much that it spreads across the. You don't want to short it out across the doofling.
No, we'll clean up there. I think I might just increase the temperature a bit.
We've got a fancy increasing temperature soldering iron here. But if you haven't got one of those, it should be fine. Yeah, this is one of those jobs you don't want to do in a windy environment. So if you've got
No,
ceiling
that's
fans,
right.
turn them off. If you can be inside in a controlled environment, do that, because you don't want your heat to blow away. You want
Yeah.
to control your heat.
So yep. So tin it well. Make sure the solder's gone right in the cores there. Don't get it too hot, because that plastic dielectric can melt and distort the shape. So it's critical that you do it quickly and stop heat melting the plastic. Okay, next.
Too hot, do it fast.
Now there's a little hole on the top of that pin.
Oh yeah, I see that. Sorry, I'm not pushing it
Okay,
under.
we're in, and you put the solder, the tip of the solder, in there. Let it heat up, and the solder will melt into it,
Look at you, just pushing it in.
and that should be enough. And so while that's hot, I'll take that off your hands now. Johnny, the next stage now is to solder it on there. I get a bit more solder on there, because you need a fairly good amount of solder to help transfer heat.
Right.
And then you sit that on top. This is where vice grips come in handy. Yeah, if you can hold that, thanks for that.
Sorry. So we're going to wait till that warms up so it can go down. It's not going to play the game, is it?
No, she's not playing the game.
Come on, baby. It'll happen all of a sudden. It'll just, everything will melt.
I'll just get some more solder on there.
Because the liquid solder, or the melted solder, is much better at transferring the heat than just a cold solder.
That's right, yeah.
Soldering iron,
Yep.
isn't it? So I do know some things, not very much.
Come on, get on there. Where aren't you going on there?
Sorry. You all right? I'm going to hold that.
Might just put my glasses on.
Yeah, let's see what we can do in there. So if you're having trouble doing it, that's okay, because we are.
Now we're getting that.
There we go. So just
Make sure she's sweated on there really good. Hold it till she's cooled down and the solder solidifies. And you can pull on there, make sure she's stuck on there.
Whew, that was easy.
Now, the final, well, getting towards the final step, you can see there's excess solder.
Yep.
All around there. Now we have to trim all that off.
And why is that important that we trim it all off, John?
Just so that it you can get these on,
Oh, yeah.
and to slide inside the casing.
Yep. I'm guessing the trick is just take your time.
Yep.
Make sure it's right. Do it once, do it right.
Yeah. You'll get it with practice. The sort of, sometimes you put too much solder on, you've got a lot of work to do to trim it all off. So a bit of practice, you'll know how much solder to put on there. And
Yep. But I'm guessing too much is better than not enough.
true, yeah, yep. Okay, just sort of need to make sure that pin's reasonably straight. Okay, now we put the
I guess you need to make sure that nothing,
nothing's on the outer edge. Yep.
so that's all
You
clear.
can just double check with the knife. And
Beautiful.
all good.
So
Now the
now,
thinner one
thin one.
with
and
the inside part
the
indentation there
dent, yep.
goes that away,
Dent goes on first.
and
okay.
and I actually force it over that little lip, and it goes pops in there.
Yep.
And then the thicker one.
Yep.
Goes on the other one.
Yep.
And then I bring all this up to the point there.
Yep.
And then this outer casing, you slide her in. I think it's slightly bent there. Okay, we just slide her in, just work its way in. Because that pin's got to come up the centre.
So, sorry, show again. Pin's got
pin
to come
in
up the
there.
centre in there. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And you just push it in there and turn that nut around. Screw it in.
You see how that's going up the centre? That
And-
nicely. Yep.
Yep, and you should be able to feel the tip of the pin with your fingers.
Yeah, I do the trick that if you
Yeah.
put your finger on there and push, you should get the dent of the
Yep.
the
you
pin
get
as
it.
well as the ring.
Yep.
If you don't get the dent of the pin as well as the ring, do it again.
Yeah. I'm hoping I've got the right size spanner. Yes, I
Look
do.
at that.
And then shifter and just tighten it up. Don't over tighten it, but tighten it till it's quite firm. And you're all done.
Job done. Look at that. Beautiful thing.
And I suppose if you really want to, you can electrically test it with a multimeter. Make sure we've got no shorts.
Okay, now
We stick it onto ohms,
ohmsage.
and one goes on the outside, and very carefully see if we can get onto this center pin, and we should, oops,
And
we should have
Second.
infinity. Yep. So we've
Cool.
got no shorts.
brilliant.
It's ready to go.
Well done. Thank you, sir.